Welcome to this explainer. Okay, so today we're diving into a story set right in the heart of the peaceful Iowa countryside. It's this incredible narrative about community, resilience, and honestly, the power of human connection. It really proves how the unlikeliest of professional pairings can overcome massive hurdles, as long as there's a rock-solid foundation of mutual trust.
So, can a government bureaucrat and a dirt-covered farmer actually save an entire town? I know, right? It sounds exactly like the setup for a movie. But to really answer this, we need to meet our two protagonists, Jack and Michael. Long before they had any fancy professional titles, they were just two young boys growing up in rural Iowa. Literally every single morning, they'd walk to school together. They helped each other with homework, played out in the fields, and, like a lot of kids, spent hours dreaming about making a massive difference in the world when they grew up. They were absolutely inseparable.
But, well, as the years passed, life did what life usually does, right? It took them on completely different journeys. They stepped out of childhood and assumed drastically different roles in society. Those grand dreams they used to share while doing math homework on the front porch, they actually started to materialize, but in ways neither of them could have ever predicted. While their core values stayed exactly the same, their day-to-day passions pulled them in totally opposite directions.
And you can see a really profound contrast in their daily lives as adults. On one side, we've got Jack. He stayed right there in Iowa and became a highly successful farmer. His life is all about grueling physical labor, working literally from sunrise to sunset, tending the soil and growing the corn and wheat that feeds thousands of families across America. Then on the flip side, we have Michael. He hit the books hard, passed his civil service exams, and jumped into the policy-driven world as a government agricultural officer. Michael's days are all about creating agricultural policy, analyzing data, and introducing modern farming techniques. So you've got one friend quite literally in the trenches with his hands in the dirt, and the other navigating the complex halls of government administration. It's a huge contrast, but despite these vastly different worlds, their friendship remained totally solid.
But then, nature threw a massive curveball. A devastating, prolonged drought hit Iowa. And we're not just talking about a minor dry spell here. This was an absolute, full-blown crisis. A dangerous shortage of water for the crops. The sky stayed completely clear, the ground cracked open, and the livelihood of thousands of farming families suddenly hung right in the balance. This peaceful countryside was instantly thrust into a state of high emergency, threatening to wipe out generations of hard work in just a matter of months. And this crisis escalated terrifyingly fast. Within the very first month, the harsh reality of a severe summer drought firmly set in. By month 2, things were dire. Jack's fields, which were once this vibrant, beautiful green, turned completely brown. The crops were literally drying up right before his eyes. Jack was facing the very real, terrifying fear of losing everything. He was agonizing over how he was going to pay his workers and just support his own family. But then, by month 3, word of Jack's struggle reached Michael. And what does Michael do? He drops absolutely everything and rushes straight back to his friend's side to see the devastation for himself.
Now, the crucial thing to note here is that Michael didn't just show up and treat Jack like, another statistic on a government report. Not at all. He listened to his oldest friend, and together they hammered out a rapid, three-pronged rescue plan. First up, Michael used his logistical know-how to arrange emergency irrigation support, just to get whatever water they could to those dying crops. Second, he sat down and helped Jack navigate all that complex government red tape to apply for crucial assistance. And third, he tapped into his professional network to connect Jack and the local farmers with top-tier agricultural experts who could offer immediate crisis mitigation strategies.
But honestly, the true magic of this story really shines in Jack's response. He didn't just take Michael's help to save his own skin. Instead, he stepped up into this role of tremendous community leadership. Jack gathered all the neighboring farmers, who, by the way, were also totally panicking, and he selflessly shared the water-saving methods and expert advice that Michael had given him. And most importantly, he encouraged everyone to prioritize cooperation over competition. In a moment where human instinct is usually to hoard resources and look out for number one, Jack brought them all together. He insisted that they would only survive if they operated as one unified front.
Fast forward a few months, and guess what? That unified front actually paid off. Through relentless hard work, mutual support, and blending high-level government resources with on-the-ground grit, the community recovered. Now, was the harvest perfect? Well, no, it rarely is after a natural disaster of that scale, but it was enough. It was enough to keep the farms running, enough to pay the workers, and enough to save so many families from total ruin. The whole town gathered to celebrate, not just the harvest, but their survival, and this unbreakable sense of unity.
During that celebration, Jack stood up in front of the entire town and delivered this line that really anchors the emotional peak of our story today. He said, "A true friend doesn't change when success comes. A true friend stands beside you when life becomes difficult." It was such a profound public validation of this incredible bond these two men shared. You see, it wasn't about who had the dirtier hands or who had the fancier title. It was all about loyalty when the chips were completely down.
And then Michael, standing right there by his friend, smiled and replied with an equally powerful statement. He said, "A government officer can make policies, but real progress happens when people trust and help one another." And that right there perfectly captures the beautiful synergy between structured government support and genuine grassroots human connection. Policies and programs, yeah, they are essential tools for sure. But as Michael points out, they are just tools. It's the trust, the community, and that human element that actually ignite real progress and pull people through a crisis. As you can imagine, the whole town just erupted in applause.
The impact of what they did went way beyond a single harvest. It actually created a lasting legacy. Their friendship became this shining, county-wide example of what happens when we bridge our professional divides. Local schools even started inviting Jack and Michael to come and speak to their students. Together, the farmer and the government officer stood in front of classrooms teaching the next generation about the values of teamwork, unwavering honesty, and dedicated community service. They showed those kids that having different careers or different daily lives or totally different skill sets never, ever has to separate true friends.
So, what does this all mean for us? Well, the moral we've uncovered today is that true friendship is fundamentally built on trust, kindness, and a willingness to just help each other out, regardless of where your paths lead. Whether you are out in the fields or sitting behind a desk drafting policies, true friends grow together to make society stronger. So as we wrap up this explainer, I really want to leave you with a final thought to ponder. Who in your life brings a different strength to the table? Think about those differences not as barriers, but as the very things that can help you weather the hardest droughts in life together.